FAA outage update. And the update for you is that it's years away from upgrading the system that grounded all flights. Well, isn't that nice? No, but seriously, apparently the notice to airmen system, or I'm sorry, notice to missions system, whatever that means, that's apparently up and running. Jets are flying in the sky, whatever. But the thing this channel here, freedom isn't free. Freedom advice, not financial advice. Band-aids, not bullet holes. And yes, that is the name of the channel. We care about the long term. We care about what's actually going to happen. I really don't give a rat's behind what happens day to day in any 24 given hour period. That's we can let the mainstream media handle the past. We can let them handle lagging indicators like CPI, like we covered in the other video, what CPI is, and all these lagging things that they're in the past. Very reactive, very reactionary, just like the Fed and all government and the mainstream media, just reacting and chasing lasers, and that's really what the average person does. We here, though, are a different echelon of person, and we think about the future. We think long-term. We think low time preference. We think about our kids and our grandkids and what's going on in the future. And this is what we have in store for us for the future. The Federal Aviation Administration software that failed, causing all these delays, is 30 years old, which we'll talk about here in a second, and at least 6 years away from being updated, a government source told CNN. So, two things. 6 years away. 6 years away. 6 years away. This is 2023, guys. We're 6 years away. That lends you to another question: is what has been going on the last 30 years? And is there a reason? It just makes you think. Like, no wonder Reagan shut these people down. shut just said, you know what? Stay home then. Fire all of you because you guys aren't doing anything anyway. What have you been doing the last 30 years? Pretty much ever since Reagan was like, you know what? Whatever. Get out of here. Get bent. They haven't done anything. 30 years, you haven't updated anything? And the answer again down here is we need more funding. Right here, down here. The FAA needs more funding. How come it's always funding? Again, we just showed yesterday how they're spending time and prioritizing racial diversity inclusion trainings and not actually working on the product and service that they provide. So does anyone see a problem with that? I'm a Catholic. We believe in treating others as we would want ourselves to be treated. That's how we believe. That's what Catholics believe. The golden rule, as many know it as. So racial inclusion isn't a problem. That's just a part of should be a part of your life. It should just be a part of anyone's life. We don't need government telling us to do that. That's not the government's role to tell us to do that. That's not the government's role to be training individuals like they're rats to do such thing. Their job is to protect the country. Is to protect the borders, have some type of military or militias, and to make sure the laws are being followed. In essence, that's it. That's all they're there to do. They're not there to provide entitlements, welfare services, and inclusivity training to different departments, and even have thousands of different departments and administrations. That's not the point. That's not the job. And as we can see right here, these things fail anyway. If we're so smart and so intellectually stimulated, the fact that we have so many administrations and czars and cabinet members and all these people, but yet we have these things that continually creep up. Are they cyber attacks? We don't know if they're cyber attacks. We're changing the notice of airman system to notice of missions system. What are we doing at the end of the day? What are we doing? We're only fooling ourselves. And we question everything here. We question everything with boldness because we want answers. And this is why I advocate leaving the system. I advocate the parallel system that's being built. It's a life raft that's slowly floating away from the sinking legacy fiat Titanic that's going down. The legacy monetary system built on a broken dollar, built on the weaponization of the dollar, built on a currency decoupled from money, decoupled from actual reality and actual value, is the thing that's crumbling everything at the end of the day, right? So that's the thing that's actually, crumbling every single thing in our life. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Are we just going to sit idly by and just let these clowns just keep doing whatever they want? Or are we going to actually do something? Are we going to actually remove ourselves from the system and put ourselves into a parallel system that actually operates outside of this? I'll tell you this, when you get into Bitcoin full throat and you become a Bitcoiner and you remove yourself from the fiat system, you see things even more clearly. Boy, oh boy, like 1,000x more clearly. Because again, when you're on the Titanic and the stern is going up of the ship, and you're sitting in the back, and you're like, hey man, look, things look great. The dollar is going up. This fiat currency is going up, man. I don't know what you're talking about, that it's sinking. And you're on the life raft of this parallel system, and you're floating away, and you can clearly now see the ship sliding and slipping under the waves, that's when it becomes very evident. It's very hard to see when you're on the ship still, and your life and death is connected very wholeheartedly on if that ship goes down or not. Of course you'd be in denial. Like, of course it's not. It's unsinkable. It's America. It's the Titanic. Can't sink. Let me tell you, when you're on the other ship, or when you're on the other vessel, on the other life raft, you can see very clearly it's going down. I've been studying this for 22 years. This is a framework. I've come from the political side and then studied the money and understood, wow, they're in bed together. Read Creature from Jekyll Island. Don't trust me. Trust but verify. Do your own homework. Do your own research and see what is going on, why the broken currency was it is one of the central tenets of the Federal Reserve and a progressive income tax, two of the 10 tenets of the Communist Manifesto. This was on purpose. This is by design. Make no mistake, this isn't like, oh my gosh, we fell into this and like we just had to do. This is by design. This is hundreds of years in the making, 100+ years in the making of crushing Western culture, crushing the family, a culture war and conscience war being deployed on all of us. This is the end game. The end game is complete control. It's the global organizations having complete control over your life. That's what they want. Look at Klaus Schwab. These are not my words. You'll own nothing and be happy. That comes from commercials being run by the World Economic Forum. For two reasons. One, because that's what they want, but two, because they know that's the end game. When you're a debt and credit-based system, they know most of society is slipping under the waves and they don't know it, so they're going to need to save them somehow. And their plans for saving you aren't that fun. It includes eating bugs, as they say, cannibalism, as they say, owning nothing and being happy, as they say, and tracking you, as they say, climate lockdowns, as they say, and not being able to travel. I think in the UK they're going to try instituting where you can't drive outside 15 minutes of a radius around your home, things like that. I mean, guys, this is all in their words. And we will cover these as we go forward, but this is in their words. This is what they're planning, and this is by design. Because when you get the Western culture out of the way, you get America out of the way, it becomes very easy to get the rest of the world to coalesce around central authority, command and control economies, and dictators, despots, tyrants, period. End of story. So let's wake up at the end of the day. The fact that this is 30 years and no one's been doing anything to it, it's going to take 6 more years. It just shows you how little updating and prep they've done to their systems. 6 years? 6 years. Mind-blowing. I appreciate your time and energy because we are building something amazing here, a community here, which is number one thing in preparedness. And guys, people can talk about all the Chicken Little, the sky is falling, all. We're in a fourth turning. Go read the book from 20 years ago, The Fourth Turning. And these are not my words. There's no new messages, there's only new messengers. And again, I feel it's a calling of mine and it's a duty of mine to expose what's going on, to expose people and what they are saying and relay it to people. Because I know there's many people. I have many people in my family, friends that don't have the time to do things. They say, hey, Brandon, great, you know all these things, but I don't have the time to do this. I don't have the time to do that. And, and I argue with them and say, well, your whole life depends on knowing these things, but that's an argument for a different day. So my job is to try to get the information out there to help prepare us. Bitcoin, gold, silver, food, energy, water, land, building community, number one, and getting outside the system and being resilient and independent. Trust, but verify. The less you're dependent on the government, the less that the governor of Illinois can say, I'm doing this for you to save people. And there's going to be police who, when I'm banning these AR-15s and this is amazing for you. Yet they have some of the most crime in the entire world. And he's banning good people from protecting themselves. Banning good people from having the ability to protect themselves. Again, kind of like Bitcoin. You don't ban Bitcoin. It bans you. So I appreciate your time and energy. Please, if you got something else, please like and subscribe. Please share it with someone. Please send the link to someone that you might know who needs to hear this or is on the edge, or like we've been saying, it's hard to be a messiah in your own town. So maybe they need someone else to say it for them. And we appreciate your time. This is the most important asset we have. It's the only finite asset we have besides Bitcoin. Bitcoin is time and time is Bitcoin. Make the honest, fair trade with yourself. Do not trade your finite time for infinite pieces of paper, infinite dollars, infinite blades of grass, infinite grains of sand. Trade it for the only other finite asset we know of. That's the only fair trade there is. It's the real, true money. We now have that. It's been discovered by Satoshi. Again, this is not financial advice. It's freedom advice. We'll see you on the next one.